Well, the Republican-controlled House narrowly voted to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress. Washington correspondent Jessi Turnure joins us live with what happens next. Good morning, Jessi.
Good morning to you as well, Danielle. So it's now up to the Justice Department to decide whether the contempt resolution becomes a court case.
The resolution is adopted.
House Republicans voted to hold Attorney General Merrick Garland in contempt of Congress after the Justice Department refused to hand over the recordings from President Joe Biden's special counsel interview about his handling of classified documents.
The Attorney General doesn't get to decide whether he hides the tape.
The Justice Department released the transcript, but President Biden invoked executive privilege on the tapes, blocking their release.
We have a right to know if Robert Hur's recommendation against prosecuting President Biden was warranted.
Ohio Republican Congressman Jim Jordan, who led the push to hold Garland in contempt, argues the recordings are the best evidence.
That's why we have the contempt resolution. We assume this is going to wind up in court, but we think our case is strong.
The vote effectively recommends the prosecution of Garland. It is now up to the Justice Department to decide whether to turn the resolution into a case. Some Republicans say they should challenge President Biden's use of executive privilege in court to force Garland to turn over the recordings. But Democrats, like California Congressman Pete Aguilar, say this is really just about one person, former President Donald Trump.
They will do whatever he asks them to do. That's been very clear.
And Trump will actually return to Capitol Hill today for the first time since the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol to meet with House and Senate Republicans. Live in Washington, I'm Jessi Turnure.
Thank you, Jessi. Well, how common is it for the House to pass a contempt resolution like this one that we're seeing?
Not very common, Danielle. So Garland became the third attorney general in U.S. history to face a contempt resolution, and the other two date back just recently to the Trump and Obama administrations, and the Justice Department didn't move forward with either of those.
All right, thank you again, Jessi Turnure in Washington, D.C. Well, staying on Capitol Hill, former President Donald Trump is expected to visit today. He's scheduled to speak at both the House and the Senate campaign headquarters near the Capitol as he seeks a second term in office. Also expected to speak at Business Roundtable for presumptive presidential nominees.
All right, let's kick it off with a look outside at the tropics. What's going on next week? This is not impacting us right now. This isn't our doorstep. We're talking about this kicking off on Monday, maybe Sunday night at the earliest. And by the way, we don't even have a named storm. We're 40% chance to see this thing develop into something more. And as of things stand right now, we're not even expecting the center of this low pressure system, whether it becomes a storm or not, to make landfall in the valley. It's supposed to stay fairly well to the south of us. So now's not the time to panic. Tell your family, tell your friends. As things stand, we're expected to get a lot of rain, and that's it. By the way, this is entering an area of favorable development for tropical systems. The red, that means that it's expected to continue to strengthen as it pushes up towards the bay, away from the Bay of Campeche towards the